morning, student. Today, in this lecture, we will discuss about the source coding. Why we required the source coding in our communication system, and what is the basic purpose of using the source coding. In our previous lectures, we have seen about the basic digital communication system block diagram. In this block diagram, we have seen that we have used the source encoder in transmitter sections. So first of all, we will describe what about the source encoder and what is the source coding. So this is the basic requirement in our communication system that we want to transmit large amount of data with the optimized bandwidth. So this is the most important requirement of communication system that we want to transmit our large amount of data. We want to transmit our data with a high speed and bandwidth requirement should be optimized. So fulfill this requirement in transmitter sections we have done the source coding. Before starting the source coding, we have again focused on the encoding part, which have covered in PCM, pulse code modulation system, that is basically a analog to digital system. And in this digital system, we have convert our analog signal into the digital signal. So first of all, when we converting our analog signal into the digital signal, we have seen that we have done the sampling, and when we are doing the sampling, we have take the discrete samples of our analog signals. So first of all, we have seen that instead of taking the continuous signals in our system, we have taken the discrete samples of our analog signals. So apart from that, when we take the discrete samples and we have to done the coding of that these samples. So for doing the coding, or we have to allotted a binary number to this particular sampled value. So for this, we have done what we have to done. We have done the quantization, and in quantization, we have selected the number of levels. So if agar we want to encode our sample signal with 4-bit combinations, so we have to done the quantizations, or we have to select the 16 quantization levels, and according to that every sample will be represented by a 4-bit combination. So if we is here we have to see that this is the uniform coding, and that is the fixed length coding, means every sample have coded with a fixed value or fixed number of bits. So before starting the source coding, and we have to use the source coding for optimize the number of bits. And in this type of coding, we have to done certain procedure or certain process through which we have done the optimum number of bits we have to select here. So instead of using the fixed length code, we are using the variable length code for optimized number of bits. So first of all, we have to see what about the information, and what we have to done with this information. So first of all, as communication is concerned with conveying the information from source to destination. So that is the basic thing. There is a information, and you want to transmit your information from transmitter to the receiver part. Here we will see that digital sources is characterized. So how you can characterize your, so you have to suppose you have to message or symbol set. So M1, M2, MQ. So there are number of messages which will be generated by a source, and there is a certain probability occurrence of probability of these symbols generating of these symbols. So we can represent these probabilities by P1, P2, and PQ. Suppose m1 is equal to 0 and m2 is equal to 1. So if you will represent by your sources m1 and m2 by 0 and 1, this is a binary pattern, and there is two options. Either you will mark it as a 0 or you will mark it as a 1. So probability of occurrence of m1 and m2 will be equal, and that is the point 0.5 and point 0.5. And again you have to calculate the symbol rate, how your symbols are generated from your sources, and probabilistic interdependency of symbols, कि how they are related to each other. So there are some informations which we have to take into account. First of all, we will see amount of information. If you have given any message m and there is a probability of generating that message is pi. So what type of or what amount of information you can extract from that, that is equal to I for informations, and that is equal to log 2 1 upon pi, where pi is the probability of occurrence of that message mi. So if you have to know the probability of that particular message pi, then you can extract or you can get the information content of that particular message from that probability given to you. So this is the basic concept of information. Suppose there is any event and it is connected with uncertainty or inverse of probability. Suppose if you are going to calculate the information content, okay. So if there is a uncertainty in any event or inverse of probability, the more expected the event is, the more information it contains. So there is a reason, if there is a certain event, means that event is certain and it will happen. So information content of that particular event is zero, or there is nothing, no information we can receive from that. But if there is a event and there is a uncertainty of occurrence, or there is a uncertainty of happening that particular event, so information content we receive from that event is high. So according to information theory, according to Shannon's measure of informations, we have to first of all measure the information. We have to know about the information capacity of channel and coding as a means of utilizing the channel capacity. How you can done your coding that you can maximum utilize your channel capacity. So that is this is the basic three informations which we have to know. So if here we will see what about the Shannon's theorem. What is the statement of Shannon's for this? If the rate of information from source doesn't exceed the capacity of a communication channel, suppose there is a channel and there is a certain capacity and there is a source, and at particular rate that source is generating the information. So if rate of information of that source is not exceed with the channel capacity, then there exists a coding technique such that information can be transmitted over channel with small probability of error despite the presence of noise. So this is a statement. He always rate of information from a source doesn't exceed the capacity of a communication channel. Now there is, we have to see that there is a digital source and we have to done the source coding. So in further slides we will see how we will do the source coding. So that is basically, you will know digital source transmit the number of symbols. So there are so many numbers of symbols are generated, and there is certain probabilities we have to give up, and there is a certain symbol rate. So according to that, source coding maps each to a code word or bit pattern, and hence convert sequence of symbols into the sequence of bits. So if we are talking about the source coding is concerned with the coding of each message what we have to generated from our source, and each messages have allotted a unique code word or bit pattern. So this is the source coding, and if we are talking about the source coding, so generally our source coding, in source coding, the it is a basically optimum coding or variable length coding, and there is not all symbols or all words are the length of code is equal. So it may be possible that it will be a variable length code. So that is again information content. What we have to discuss is how much amount of information you can extract. So if all the source with independent symbols are generated, M1 to MQ, so there is a occurrence, probability of occurrence is P1 to PQ. So then you can extract the amount of information from that particular. And by using this, we can see that symbols with probability 1 carries no information. If there is a probability of 1 means there is a occurrence of any event is fixed, then information content will be 0. And if there is a 0 carries means if there is a 0 probability of occurrence, then there is information content will be infinite. So this is a basic property of our informations which we have to known about the probability occurrence. This is our Shannon's entropy, how you can calculate. So if you are talking about the Shannon's information content of outcome, so that is equal to log 2 1 upon px. As we have to see, we have to calculate that Shannon's information content, and after then we can calculate the entropy. So if you are talking about the basic source information, and then the source coding theorem claims three things. First of all, what is the information content, as we have to already shown. Second one is the entropy. If you are talking about the entropy, so that is basically average information. So what about the average information? Suppose there is a probability of px of occurrence of any event or any symbols, and there is a probability is px, and information content that is equal to log to 1 upon px. So that is a product of information content and probability of occurrence of that particular symbols, that will be promote that. So there is a summation of all the symbols that is generated from a particular source. So product of probability and information content of all the symbols and addition of all these symbols, that is equal to the entropy. So if you want to calculate the entropy, that is indicated as a hx, so that is equal to summation of all the symbols that is generated. So probability of that particular symbols that is generated into the information content which will that particular symbols carry over. So product of these two and summation of all these symbols, that is equal to the entropy. If you are talking about the source coding theorem, so n outcomes from a source x can be compressed into the roughly. So if you are talking source coding theorem, so according to source coding theorem, there are n outcomes. There are number of symbols generated from source that is equal to n. So what about the roughly source coding theorem states that it can be compressed into max to max, that is equal to n into hx. What about the average code word length? If we are talking about the average code word length, so the average code word length that is always greater than or equal to entropy and less than equal to hx plus 1. So here this one is the in the limit as n approaches to the infinity. So what will happen there? The average code word length limit of n tends to infinite. So average code word length divided by n, that is equal to hx, and hx is the entropy of our system. So average code word length of extended prefix code can be made as small as entropy of the source. So that is basically equal to the entropy. If we are talking about the Kraft inequality, so what about the Kraft inequality? So if prefix code always satisfy the Kraft inequality, so there is a certain rules and regulations when we are designing a code. So when we are talking about the prefix code, so there is a ni indicates as a length of the code word. So suppose there are nl code words. So basically number of bits in all the codes, that is equal to n1, n2, n3. So ni, that is represent I is equal to 1 to any integer value. So that is basically n1, n2, n3, and nl are the lengths of code words. So Kraft inequality doesn't tell us that a source code is a prefix code. Rather, it is merely a condition on the code word length of the code and not on the code words themselves. So these conditions should be satisfied when we are working on the source coding theorem. So in that particular source coding theorem, what will happen here? uh, ni indicate the length of our particular code words, and summation of all the code words length 2 raised to power minus ni, where ni indicates I indicates the 1, 2, 3, 4 any integer values, or number of our how many code words are existing there. Summation of both that is always equal to or less than 1, and this Kraft inequality theorem must be satisfied in our system. Now we will move to the Shannon information content of an outcomes. So some intuitive support for our first claim, we have to see if we make a graph between information content HP that is equal to log to 1 by P. So that is the basically information content, and P is the probability of that particular event. So at that particular graph, we will show that less probable an outcome is the most informative is happening as we have to see. And here we will prove in our graph that if as you have to moving towards the unity or one, the information content will be decreases. And as our there is a less probability of occurrence of our event, our information content will be high. So in this graph, we will see how much informative our symbols are. So we can see here, and this is a general grow as probability of X determinacy. So here we can see the basic relationship between the information content and the probability of that particular occurrence. The Shannon's information content of an outcome. So as we have to see that same things, we can also prove here by using the value that we can see in this place. What is the basic role of that one? Now, entropy, if we want to calculate the entropy, so there is something px into hx, and hx will contain the information content. So, if we are talking about the px that is equal to 0, probability is 0. So, at that particular content, entropy will also be 0. So, if we are talking about the entropy for binary source, what about the entropy? So, basically, if there are two symbols, and happening of that two symbols is P and Q, or P and you have to know that addition of all probabilities must be equal to 1. So if there are two symbols and the probability of that symbols is P1 and P2, so total occurrence addition of that both the probabilities that is equal to 1. So if there is a probability of P1 event that is equal to P, so probability of another event will be 1 minus P. So according to this rule, if we are calculating the entropy HP, so that is equal to minus P log 2 P minus 1 minus P log 2 1 minus P. So that is basically a entropy and symbols probability. According to that, there is a half. We have to see that this is a half circle, and here we can see that what is the relationship between entropy and symbols probability Pi. So as there are number of symbols you have to given, so symbol probability are given to the x-axis, and in y-axis we have given the entropy, and we will make a graph. So in this graph, entropy is maximum. So we can see here that entropy will be maximum at the particular peak point if we are equiprobable. P1 and P2 both are the zero point 0.5 probability. So now what will happen? Source entropy is maximum when there is a zero point 0.5, and after zero point 0.5 it will be decreases slowly, and at this particular point, so entropy will be maximum when your probability will be zero point 0.5. So at equal probability event, whatever the equal value, so that particular value your entropy will be maximum. So in this graph we can see the relationship between the entropy and symbol probability Pi. What about the data compression and why we are using this? Our third claim is that n outcomes from a source X can be compressed into roughly n into Hx. So what about the Hx? Hx indicates the entropy of that particular source or particular symbols what that particular source is generating. So if you are calculating the entropy of that particular symbols, so roughly we can say that there is claims that n outcomes from a source. So if the source are generating n outcomes, so according to that you can compress your data n into hx times. So in other words, our claim is that number of bits necessary to compress a source is linear with respect to entropy of the source. This claim implies an intimate connection between the data compression and the measure of information content of the source. So that is basically we can see here before giving uh, using the data compression technique, what is the relationship between the data compression and the measure of information content of the source. So here you can see source of information x1, x2, x3. There are so many sources. Outcome of each ensemble xi. So that is related, and we can again see here. What about the entropy or average information content per symbol of a source? So if we know, show that if we can compress data from a particular source into a file or file of L bits per source symbol, so recover the data reliably, then we will say that average information content of that source is at most L bits per symbol. So that is basically things if you are compress data from a particular source into a file of L bits per source symbol and recover data reliably. So then we will say that average information content of that source is almost L bits per symbol. A lossy compressor maps all the files to shorter code words, but that means that sometimes two or more files will necessarily be mapped to the same code word. So there is a problem, and lossless compression maps most files to shorter code words, but it will necessarily map some files to longer code words. So there is a variation. Some files may be if you want to lossless or if you want to design a lossless compressor, so it will map most file into shorter code word length, but some files will be longer code word. We can also talk here about the rate distortion theory. So average error introduced by the compression is constrained to some maximum allowable level d. So there may be certain constraint for introducing the average error. We want to determine the smallest rate at which information about the source can be conveyed to the user. So that is basically we can determine the smallest rate. This problem is specifically addressed by a branch of information theory known as rate distortion. So this type problem which is addressed by particular section, so that is called as a rate distortion theory. The purpose of source coding is to reduce the number of bits required to convey the information provided by the information source. So that is the purpose of source coding. See how we can reduce number of bits required to convey the information. So basic purpose is how we can reduce the number of bits. For the file of source data, this means compression, and for the transmission, this is the bitrate reduction. So there is the advantage if you want to source data file, it should be compressed means you have to remove the redundant bits. And second one for transmission purpose, this is a bitrate reduction. So here we can see that how you can reduce the bitrate reduction for transmission purpose. So there is x1, x2, x3, xn symbols. So there is a possibility of n independent symbols that is generated by a source, and string is very likely to be one of the two nhx. So that is typical output. So that is which have the probability we can calculate. So there is in informal shorthand the L average length that is always equal to or greater than the hx entropy of that particular. What about the Shannon's first theorem? So first theorem on coding efficiency and gives the idea a discrete memoryless source of entropy Hz, the average code word length L for any distortionless source coding scheme is bounded as L that is always equal to or greater than Hz. According to the source coding theorem, the entropy represents a fundamental limit on the average number of bits per symbol. So there is a limit how what is the average number of bits per source symbol to represent a discrete memory length source in that particular case. So it can be made as small as possible and no smaller than the entropy. So what about this efficiency n that is equal to h upon l, and what is the value of h something, so that is the minimum length l minimum that is equal to entropy of that particular symbols. So this is the data compression of source coding. This is the source, we have to generate an x. This is a compressed signal and we will convert it into l bits. So if we want to compress, if much information is contained in x and you want to compress that particular information, so what type of number of bits per second you want to convert it. So suppose there is L number of bits per second, so you will convert your data or you will compress your data according to this and decompress reliably, and at the receiver part we will again decompress it. Now we will see here Shannon's information theory, as we have to seen that the theory provides answer to two fundamental questions. What is the irreducible complexity below which a signal cannot be compressed? And what is the ultimate transmission rate for reliable communication over a noisy channel? So we have to keep that answer of these two in with general description. So if we are talking about the source coding theorem, so coding theorem is particularly a statement and it will indicate that L, average code word length L, that is equal to or equal to the Hs. So Hs is the entropy of our system. What about the Shannon's theorem? So we know different communication system designs achieve the different performance, and we also know system performance is always limited by the available signal power. So the inevitable noise and the need to limit the bandwidth, what is the ultimate performance limit of communication system, underlying only by the fundamental physical nature. Now we will state again the Shannon's theorem. If rate of information from a source doesn't exceed the capacity of a communication channel, then there exists a coding technique. Okay, so as we have to already seen, if rate of information source from doesn't exceed capacity of a communication channel, then there exists a coding technique such that information can be transmitted over the channel with very small flaws. So we'll again repeating here, what about the Shannon's theorem statement? And there is again the theorem that average code word length that is always should exceeded the entropy of Hx. So according to source efficiency, if you want to calculate the source encoder and if you want to calculate the efficiency of that particular source efficiency, that is equal to Hx upon L average, and efficiency is either less than 1 or equal to 1. So at the receiver part binary sequence channel, so we have to given the channel decoder binary sequence and there is a symbol. So whatever changes we have done at the transmitter section, the reverse process we have to apply at the receiver, and as far as we have to also provide a channel decoder at the receiver part. Now we will switch to the Huffman coding. And what is about the Huffman coding? So according to our system, we will see that there are we have to see that what about the source coding and what type of process we have to follow. There is a basic certain rules, craft inequality theorem, source coding theorem, and efficiency of particular source. What parameters we have to calculate it in our source coding theorem, and after then we will see that how we can convert our data into the variable length code. So if we are talking about the variable length scheme for encoding of a signal, so arrange the source symbol in descending order of probability. So there is basically we have to arrange the source symbols in descending order probability. So what type of sequences we have to given in our numerical or our in questions? First of all, we have to arrange it in the descending order. Second one, create a new source with one less symbol by combining the two symbols having the lowest probability. So there is also a new symbols with one less symbols by combining. So you can add with a lowest probability symbol. You will repeat then again 1 and 2. Associate 1 and 0. So by sequentially we can associate 1 and 0 each pair of probabilities. So now here we can see encode each original source symbols into binary sequences. So it will be generated by the various combinations with the first combination as the least significant digit in the sequences. So we will see some numericals. Just see here. Suppose you have to given the source symbols A, B, C, D, E, and there are the probabilities. You have to given the probabilities of these different symbols. PA that is equal to zero point 0.4, PB zero point 0.2, zero point 0.2, PC is zero point 0.2, PD is zero point 0.1, and PE is zero point 0.1. So what about what happens? First of all, we have to arrange it in the descending order, and as we have to see that these are already arranged in a descending order. Now, how you have to do? There is a certain rules. According to that, we will move towards. So first of all, the last two probabilities will be added, and we will add zero point 0.1 and zero point 0.2. And after addition of zero point 0.1 and zero point 0.2, what will happen there? We will receive the zero point 0.2, and we will arrange these zero point 0.2 whatever in that position where it will again follow the descending order rule. Okay, so all probabilities will be again arranged in the after putting that additional we have to add these two probabilities, and we will put these addition into that particular place that all the probabilities will be again in the descending order. Now next step will again we will again add these two probabilities zero point 0.2 and zero point 0.2, and again and addition of these two will be equal to zero point 0.4, and we will put this zero point 0.4 in that particular place that remaining probability sequence will be again in the descending order, and we again add zero point 0.4 and zero point 0.2, and we will put it again in that particular either. So we will put it at the upper part of the zero point 0.4 for maintaining the descending order. So at last we will receive the 0 and 1. So what will happen here? You will indicate if, at last you have to add till now you will not receive the two probabilities zero point 0.4 and zero point 0.6. So we will see that at last we have to receive the two probabilities zero point 0.4 and zero point 0.6, and we will indicate as a 0 and 1 binary bit allocation. And we will see that zero point 0.6 is made of combination of zero point 0.4 and zero point 0.2. So we will again allotted the 0 0 to both the numbers, and we will insert again 0 and 1. So in this way again we will see that zero point 0.4 is a combination of zero point 0.2 and zero point 0.2, and we will again allot them 0 and 1. So in this way we will again moving in the reverse direction by allotting the 0 1 0 1, and in this way we can encode all the probabilities. So you can see here a is encoded into 1. So a is a only 1 encoded by a 1. P is encoded by 0 1. C encodes into 0 0 0. D encodes into 0 0 1 0, and E encodes into 0 0 1 1. So now what will happen here? He, we will moving towards the different combinations. So we can see that it is a variable length code. How you can say it a variable length code? Because not all the probabilities, all the symbols are coded by a constant or fixed length, but it will be coded by a variable. Like someone is indicate use a 1 bit, someone will be indicate as a 2 bit, someone will be indicate as a 3 bit, and someone will be 4 bit. So there is a variable length code, and different symbols are coded by a different number of bits combination. We can again see this is our general tree diagram of that particular value. So now how you can calculate the source entropy. So if we are talking about the source entropy, so there is general formula, summation of all the probabilities or all the symbols which are generated from a source. So that is the basically product of probability of that particular message into the information content of that message. So product of both and summation of all the probabilities, all the messages generated from a source. So that is equal to the source entropy. You can see here what type of probabilities you have to given, and you have to also calculate the information contained up to pi, and then you can calculate it. So that is equal to 2.12 bits per symbol. So that is basically solution. You can calculate the entropy. Now you have to calculate the average number of bits, and we will see how you can calculate the average number of bits L. So first of all, you have see the probability is equal to zero point 0.4, and the number of bits allotted to that is equal to 1. Second one is the probability is equal to zero point 0.2, and number of average bits allotted is 2. The third probability zero point 0.2, the average number of bits allotted to it as 3. Zero point 0.1, so average number of bits allotted to 4. So that is equal to 2.2 bits per symbol. So if you want to calculate the efficiency, so efficiency that is equal to the entropy divided by the average code word length. So by using this way, we can calculate the average code word length, in which probability will be multiplied with number of bits allotted for representation, and addition of all the symbols that is equal to the average value. So n is called as a source redundancy or efficiency. Capital M is the number of binary digits required to represent the source without any source coding. L by M, that is equal to compression ratio. So in our example, we will calculate the different values. What about the CR? What about the M? CR indicates that proportion by which the bandwidth required to transmit the source over a binary channel can be reduced. So CR is the compression proportion. Okay. So it will indicate that how much bandwidth required to transmit the source from binary channel. So again, an example of our source coding. You can see here. Just see, we have given the different probabilities. We have to do the same process. We will add last two probabilities, and added value will be put at that particular place, so that next column will be follow the descending order rule. After then, we will again add the last two probabilities, and we will put it at the desired place, and it is again the descending order follow. Next one is again, and next one is again. So you can see here, at last we have remember only two probabilities, and we will mark it as a 0 and 1. So arrange the symbols in descending order of frequency value. So there is a always you have to maintain your data with the descending order. You can see here, you have to add this one. We will get the 0.25, add this to 0.1, and add this to 0.1, and this is a 0. So that is a basically 0 1 coding. If you are reading in this direction, 1 1 1 and 1 1 0. So this is the in which we can represent, or we can done the Hubble coding. I think it will be clear. These two are added, move forward, again these two are added, move forward, and this is the one. I think it will be clear to you. We will continue the next example. It will be again more clear to you. We have to add these two and put the added value in the next column and maintain the descending order. Again in next step we have to add it to 0 and 1, and we will put this into the such a place that it will again follow the descending order rule. Same will be happens to the last two, and in this way there will be remaining only two probabilities 0 and 1, and addition of these two are equal to 1. That's our purpose. Now we will mark the 0 1 0 1, and then we will calculate the coding. So that is the particularly you can represent 1 0 0 0 1. So that is again a variable length. You don't have a fixed length. All the symbols don't have a fixed length. So we have to optimize our number of bits. So you can see here instead of using the fixed length code, here we are working on the variable length code, and we can reduce the number of bits in this type of coding of method. We can also calculate the entropy of that particular signal, and Kraft inequality theorem should also be satisfied. Now we will see about the Shannon-Fano coding. That is all. Shannon-Fano tree is built according to a specification designed to define a electric effective code bank table. So actual algorithm is simple. So first of all, you have to given a list of symbols, develop a corresponding list of probabilities or frequency counts so that each symbol's relative frequency of occurrence is known. Sort the list of symbols according to frequency and which is the most frequently occur symbol at the left and least common to the right. Divide the list into the two parts with the total frequency counts of the left part being very close to the total of the right. So if we are dividing our list in two parts, so upper part addition of probability of upper part and addition of probability of lower part, that should be approximately equal. So now again we will see the Shannon-Fano coding. Shannon-Fano algorithm is a top-down approach. Sort the symbols according to the frequency count of their occurrence. So you have to again arrange in descending order, and now tentatively or approximately two equal parts we will divide the list of our probability, and then we will mark it as a upper half will be indicated as a 0 and lower half probability will indicate it as a 1 1 1, and after that upper half is not divisible, so lower half will be further subdivisible, so we will again divide it into two equal parts, and we will again allot it to the 0 and 1 1 to these two columns, and again further divisible, remaining part is further divisible, and we will again divide it into the two parts 0 and 1. So that is the number of bits 1 2 3 3. That is the basically code word 1 by 2, 1 by 4, 1 by 8, and 1 by 8. That is the basically these are the probability, these are the signals, and half or half we have divided into 0 1 1 1, again subdivided, again subdivided. That will be the individual allotment of code. So that is basically again we will divide it into two equal parts. Upper half will be 0, lower half will be indicated as a 1 1 1. Again subdivision of upper half and lower half, and we will again divide it. So that is 0 0. So 0 0 is same. Again 0 1, and here is 1 1. also 1 and 0, and remaining part is again 1 1, again further subdivisible, again further subdivisible. So that is the indication of 0 and 1, and then that is the basically column of code word. So I think it will be clear to you. There is a Huffman coding and there is a Shannon-Fano coding. In both the coding, we have to opt the variable length. So we are not getting the fixed length code, we are getting the variable length code. So this is our purpose of our source coding. We have to optimize the code. So what is the basic definition of optimize the code? Means we have to remove the redundant bits and we have to reduce the number of bits so that our large amount of signals can be transmitted with a particular bandwidth. If we are reducing our number of bits, then our bandwidth requirement will also be reduced. So this is our target, how we can reduce the number of bits by using the source coding theorem. So according to our source coding theorem, we can reduce our number of bits. So now we will see here. This is a simple objective type question. How your signals will be attenuated, what is the size of data, which one will reduce. It is also coding method uses entropy coding. You can also see here code information rate basically gives an idea. So you can also see Huffman coding technique is adopted for constructing the source code with the how much redundancy, optimum, maximum, which conveys more information so that you have to know about it, and which circuit is called as regenerative repeater. So that is you can also which block or device does the data compression. So that is basically what amount of data can say. That is the basically optimization technique in our information theory. So that is basically a source coding which we have to opt for reduction of number of bits. So now I think it is clear to you. Now